Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to be going through all the books we read in September. It's going to be quite a quick one today because I'm in the middle of packing and also I'm quite ill, so I don't really want to talk too much, but we've got our physical books here, and then we also read a couple on Kindle Unlimited. I don't think I bought any Kindle books this month though. I think they were all Kindle Unlimited books, so they are available if you have Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, the first book we read in September was Babel by R F Kuang. Can never say people's names, it's a problem, just go with it. I actually read this at throughout September and August. Took me quite a while to read, and it was not what I kind of was expecting at all, but it was actually, I did enjoy the plot. It just took me, because the writing was so small and it was quite factual, I feel. Obviously it's like still fiction, but there were a lot of like facts and like interesting sort of bits of information in the book. It just took me longer to read than I thought it would. So yeah, it was actually really good. I did enjoy it. I did only give it 3.5 stars, but that was mainly because it took me so long to read and I struggled to sort of keep interest in it because I just struggled to read it basically. So yeah, these are like the last books I need to go in this box, so I'm just gonna, when I finish talking about them, put them in the box so it's ready to go. The next book I read in September was The Hunted Heir by Renee. That was a Kindle Unlimited book. A second book in the Veiled Kingdom series, I believe. It was not, I was expecting more, I think, from that one, but I did enjoy it. I don't think I actually had any 5 stars in, I think I maybe had 1 5-star in September, but they were all good books. There was nothing that I wouldn't suggest to read from a series, from the month even. But yeah, so The Hunted Heir by Renee. It was a good second book. I just feel like more could have happened, if that makes sense. I feel like it was a bit sort of slow paced in a way, considering how the first one ended. There wasn't really much that happened in the second one until like near the end, and then it just ends on like a cliffhanger again, and I'm not entirely sure how they're gonna, the way it ended, I'm not sure how they're gonna get back together and stuff, find their way back and stuff. But yeah, I did also read A Court of Frost and Starlight and A Court of Silver Flames. They were both rereads. Sarah J Maas Court of Thorns and Roses series, the last 2, they are in the box underneath this one, I believe, because I didn't think to go through my journal before I packed up the rest of my paperbacks. So they were rereads. I didn't rate them because obviously they're rereads, but I read them as well. Then I read Daydream by Hannah Grace. This came out, I think, at the end of August. Very pretty. I actually really enjoyed this one. I think this one is the third in the series, but I think they are like standalones, but you know, connected standalones. Like you don't have to read the first two to read this one, but I always like suggest that if you're going to read one of them, you might as well read them all, because even though it doesn't, you can read them separately, it's like kind of spoils who gets together with who in like the previous books if you haven't read them already. So yeah, but this one was really nice. I feel like there was definitely a lot more like depth to the characters than, especially in the second one. The first one I really enjoyed, but I think I really enjoyed that one because it was like skating, and I enjoy skating. But this one was, it had a lot of like depth and twists and stuff, which I really enjoyed. So I did give this one 4 stars. But yeah, it was really cute, really easy to read as well, which is always nice to have, like a nice easy read. The Wicked in Me by Suzanne Wright. This is like a fantasy, but it was not really what I was expecting, but it was actually really, I thought it was really good. Like the plot was really well thought out, and it was so easy to read, and like you can read it so quickly. And the only thing for me is that I think there was a bit too much sort of spice, if that makes sense. I feel like they focused on their relationship a bit too much considering what was going on around them, but that was the only thing for me that I feel like they could have focused on the plot a bit, like the main plot a bit more than just what was happening with their relationship. And their relationship was very, it went from like 0 to like nothing to everything like very quickly, and it was a bit sort of unrealistic even for like a fantasy. I know like fantasies it's kind of like that, but you still at least get some build up like to the relationship, whereas this, I don't think there was really much, if any, at all. But I did give this one 4.5 stars, to be fair. I did really enjoy the plot, and yeah, it was very enjoyable to read. Then I read the second one, The Nightmare in Him. Second one in, I think this series is the Devil's Cradle series. But yeah, this just like followed on, and this one had again it focused quite a lot on like their relationship and their feelings towards each other, which is nice. I enjoyed that in a book, but at the same time there was a lot of times where they should have been focusing on like the bigger picture, and I feel like we should have seen more of what was happening outside of their relationship, if that makes sense. And again, it's sort of their relationship and stuff escalated like very quickly. But it's a good series. It's a good, easy to read, like enjoyable series, but there are certain things that I think maybe make it a bit, I wouldn't say like unenjoyable or unrealistic. I mean, obviously it's all unrealistic because it's a fantasy series, but I kind of like there to be a bit more, like especially in series of books like these where there's like battles and like wars and stuff happening and like plotting. Like I would like to see a bit more of that aspect than the relationship aspect, but that's just me. So I did give this one 4 stars because again I enjoyed the plot and I enjoyed where it was going, and I think there is a third one coming out, if I can remember rightly. I think there's a third one coming out. I'm not sure though, and I'm not sure when, but I'm pretty sure there's a, if there is, I don't think it's out yet. Yeah, the third one is called The Monsters We Are, but I'm not sure when that's coming out. I think it might be January. So yeah, that's not out yet. I then read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was my only 5-star of the month, I believe. I don't know, I really enjoyed this one. It was so emotional. It took me longer than I was expecting to read, but then I do always give myself, I know her books can always, they take me a while to get into sometimes if I've not been reading like similar books like before. So I went for this one first for the last 2 of my TBR for September, because I thought they were both sort of fiction-y, and I thought this one, I know I like her writing, so I'd read this one first. And it was just so emotional, and like even like straight from the beginning, when you have like no concept and no like connection to any of the characters, it like really hits you immediately. Like the first like page is basically like her husband dying, and you're like, you immediately feel sorry for her, and you're like, oh my god. And then it just, even though you have no concept of their relationship and you're not connected to the characters at all, it's then watching her go through like the grief process, but then as well making you connected to her in that way, but then also her before, while she was like dating him and getting married to him and stuff, and you see him, you obviously get to know him as well, and it just, throughout the course of the book, it becomes even more emotional because you're connecting more of the characters, but you already know he's already dead, and it's just, it's very emotional. But it's a very good book that sort of, I feel like it showcases the different like sort of stages of grief very well. And there was something else that I saw someone else had written, I'm not sure if it was about this book or something else, but the way she showcases like the dissociation of the situation, is that what it's called? I think, like when it happens, when she goes to the hospital, I think she does that very well. So yeah, that was 5 stars. I then read God of Malice by Rina. This is part of the Legacy of God series on Kindle. It's a Kindle Unlimited book. This was actually recommended to me by someone on Threads, because I asked for recommendations for Kindle books. I mean, she did warn me that to read the like triggers or whatever first, which I did do. Honestly, it wasn't as bad as the triggers made it sound like. I had to Google what some of the triggers were because I didn't know. I was just like, well, who am I kidding? I'm gonna read it anyway. So it wasn't as bad as I thought, but the plot was like kind of, I wouldn't say there was really much of a plot, which is the only thing for me. I know it was like a dark romance. I've never read like a pure dark romance before, so this was like a first for me as well. So it wasn't bad, but also I wouldn't say I'd make a habit of it, because I do like my books to have at least like a clear plot there. I have continued with the series, so I did give that 3.5 stars, and then I think I ran out of space in that journal, so I had to get a second journal. Right? Is that right? That doesn't even count towards September because I finished it on the 1st of October. Okay, fine. So then the last book, I believe, is Ralph's Party. Yeah. Ralph's Party by Lisa Jewell. So again, this was, I thought this was like, I mean, technically it's a romance book, but I feel like it more leans towards the like fiction, just the fiction, like literary fiction sort of side of things. It took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to read this. Like the writing was quite big, and I thought I enjoyed Lisa Jewell's other books, but I will admit this is the first book of hers that I've read that hasn't been a thriller, and honestly I think I will stick to her thrillers. I did only give this one 3 stars. it just took so long to get to the party that it was basically all just like background information and stuff, which is I enjoyed sort of getting to know the characters and stuff, but I was sort of, it got to like around here and I was sort of like, there's still not even like a mention of the party, and I was just like, sort of, it got to the point where I was just like, come on, let's just like get there and like finish it, if that makes sense. I was getting a bit like bored and I can't think of the word, my brain is like so fogged up, but yeah, I was just getting a bit like, let's just get it over with now, to be honest. It was a good book, I wouldn't say it was bad, I just feel like it wasn't at all what I was expecting, but to be fair, I don't think I really knew what to expect, because as I said, like, she is my favourite thriller author, but this is obviously not a thriller, so yeah, I'll leave that up to you guys if you want to try that or not. I feel like it's definitely more similar to like Taylor Jenkins Reid's sort of romance, like her style, but it's obviously hers are all like general like sort of literary fiction and stuff, whereas this was technically classed, as I googled it, it's technically classed as a romance book, but I don't know if I would say there was, I don't really think there was any romance in it, to be fair. Not like a lot. There was a bit of like lead up to romance, but nothing really happened with that until like right at the end, and then you don't really see what happens after that. So yeah, it was definitely interesting to see how like different people live and like what happens behind closed doors and things like that, but yeah, I wouldn't read it again, but yeah, it's not gonna fit there. Good enough, maybe a bit over, but fine. Yay. And then yeah, I believe that's it. So I think I read 10 books last month, if I'm right in saying that. Where's September? Yeah, I read 10 books, only one 5-star. Forever Interrupted was obviously my book of the month because it was my only 5-star, and it made me feel the most emotion, which is normally what I rate books on. Like, if it makes me cry, it's a 5-star pretty much, and that was the only one that reached that level this month. I don't even know where I am. I'm just, my bookshelf is looking a bit depressing because there's only my hardbacks and box sets up there now, apart from my October TBR is also still up there. But yes, that is it from me. As I promised, sweet and short, and I will see you in a few weeks. I'm not sure if I'm going to manage to do a reading vlog again this month because I'm packing. I move out on the 1st of November, so I might be a bit busy, and honestly I'm not sure if I'll have time to, definitely don't have any time during the weeks. I haven't got any time off until the day before I move and the day of moving, so they will be taken up by packing everything else I own. I've just packed books so far. I've still got a while. I've still got like 3 weeks, but I'm not going to use a lot of it, and it's like over an hour drive away, so like those days are purely going to be driving up and down with boxes. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.